Hi there. If you've seen my recent video, Do the Elites Respect Freewill? Then you've heard me talk a bit about symbolism in language. And this video is going to discuss that topic more in depth. And it's taken from a WordPress document that I published recently called Mind Control Using Symbolism in Words and Numbers. There are many methods of mind control that have been uncovered. As most of you know, there is symbolism and subliminals used in movies, music, and television. There is also high-tech forms of mind control using implants, nano or otherwise, and other technologies. There is mind control involving the use of trauma to mess with the human being's psychology. And there is the manipulation of language. While the technology I have researched seems to be completely plausible, I am taking a look at language now because it's been around much longer than the technology currently in use has been, and has a wider scope of impact. The way language, including words, phrases, and slang, is set up seems to be negative when considering the roots used in many of our words, and even sometimes confusing, albeit on a level that is harder to discern. This creates a subconscious and subtle base layer of confusion, which then sets the stage for general mind control using other technologies like movies, music, and television, for example. Symbolism bypasses the conscious mind and goes straight into the subconscious, which makes it a type of programming, especially when used in language, which is learned during the most impressionable years of a child's life. So here are some words and numbers that should be looked at symbolically, given the way symbolism affects the human psyche. Many of you are familiar with the word therapist, which can be broken down into two words, the rapist, which I picked up on many years ago from a movie called Girl Interrupted, in which Angelina Jolie's character says it. Ever noticed how many names have the word war in them? Warburg, Warner, Warren, as in the Warren Commission, are a few. If you watched my video that I mentioned, I've already talked about the root words ill, al, mar, and ick, which can be found in many words in our language. For example, bill, chill, kill, mill, till, Illuminati, million, trillion, ow, chow, cow, sow, bow. The word mar can be found in mark, Mars, and March. And of course there's ick, which can be found in lick, sick, tick, nick, trick. Okay, now I want to go over the words left and right, because they carry a lot of symbolism in them. Okay, so the word right, usually refers to the following in the English language: a direction, right-handed, correct. In the Conservative Party, while the word left traditionally refers to a direction, left as in the Liberal Party, and left as in gone, as in he left the building. By the way, left-handedness is often called southpaw. Is there any symbolism there? If right means correct, does left symbolically mean wrong? Question: what happens if a person who is naturally left-handed is forced to be right-handed? I ask this with the knowledge that a stroke in the left hemisphere of the brain has effects on the right side of the body, and vice versa. I think this might be how the whole left brain and right brain concept might have been developed. If someone who is left-handed is made to be right-handed against their God-given natural inclination, would it take them out of their right mind? Symbolically? How about metaphorically? Metaphysically? Spiritually? Some illustrious scientist ought to do a study on the effects of forcing a left-hander to be right-handed instead of experimenting with brain implants on children from compromised groups like adoptees and orphans. Back in the day, left-handedness was considered a sign of being a witch, and it meant that a person was evil. Which brings me to the word Evo. Is Eve ill? While we're on the biblical, what about Cain and Abel? While a biblical character, Abel is also a word that means you are properly equipped to do something. And Cain is also a word that is a tool to help a person walk. Could Cain have been disabled? Disable? Dis as in disrespect? Is this some kind of a joke? Did Cain really kill Abel? Judging by their names and the fact that history is usually written by the winners, it seems to me that Cain might have been disabled and unable to do something like that. I hope you don't think that I'm blaspheming here, because I'm simply searching for the truth. And this symbolism in words is kind of giving me a state of cognitive dissonance. Now I want to talk about the word graven. Graven is a past participle of the word grave, which means fraught with danger or harm. So are graven images merely images that are fraught with danger or harm? When I look at certain trump cards of the tarot, like the Tower, the Hanged Man, and Death, for example, this seems to be the case. It also seems to be the case in the use and mere worship of the crucifix that so many people are fond of. Because it is a graven image, an image fraught with danger or harm, because a person is being crucified and tortured. Moving on. How about the word justice? If you're familiar with Jordan Maxwell's work, he talks about it meaning just us. But it reads like just ice. While we're talking about justice, why is justice blind anyway? Some people say that this phrase relates to the idea that justice is impartial. Well, why not just say justice is impartial? I need her to be cited and to see the whole truth, because I feel like I am being judged for actions or behaviors taken out of context. Why can I not get justice for the horrible things that have been done to me ever since I was taken from my natural mother at birth, if the United States is supposed to be about liberty and justice for all? Alas, the ideal of justice has simply become yet another simulacrum in our modern world, only to be found in a clothing line these days. How about the word government? Many of you know that it breaks down to two words, meaning govern, to control, and ment, referring to the mind. So government means control of the mind. How about the Egyptian god Horus, which sounds like Hor, us? And us is spelled U-S, as in the United States. And there are many people who believe that the United States is Babylon. So Hor of Babylon? Thinking about the word masturbate, master as in ruler and bait as in what you use to go fishing. How about Nazi? Sounds like not see, S-E-E, or not see the letter C. Alphabet, alpha as in male and bet as in wager. Curfew is very close to the word or the phrase cure few. Culture, as many of you know, has the root word cult in it, but it also refers to a petri dish, as if our culture is just one big experiment. Television. Tell-a-vision, which I've mentioned before, but I've heard some people say tell-lie-vision. Metaphor. Meta means above, beyond, before, or about. And 4 sounds like the number 4. And the fourth trump of the tarot is the Emperor card. So the word metaphor and the existence of it seems to favor the rulers of this world. Speaking about numbers, 9 sounds like the German word nein, which means no, which I learned from Michael Tsarian. 11 looks like El even, El as in Elohim, and even as in equal. The 11th trump of various tarot decks, however, mean justice or strength, while in one deck it means lust, which is the Crowley deck. The 11th sphere of Kabbalah is supposed to represent knowledge, but is often missing from the Kabbalistic tree. So does 9/11 equate to no justice, no strength, or no knowledge? Did all those people die as blood sacrifices to empower some desire for no justice, strength, or knowledge? I have to wonder about that. The number 12. 12 contains the word elf, as in elves, as in Santa, and Santa is an anagram of Satan. Being born on 12/12, again, I have to ask, is this a joke? Regarding numbers, would it not throw a young psyche off balance to learn that the word oct means 8, like octagon, yet October has already been learned to be the 12th month at an earlier age? How about sept, meaning 7, even though September is the 9th month? And don't forget November and December. Nov means 9, and dec refers to 10, see decade. I have heard one person say that they had added on a few months in the names of Augustus and Julius Caesar, but that's no reason to name the last 4 months out of sync with the way they are numbered. Also, a natural calendar would have 13 months of 28 days each, since the word month refers to moon. I'm almost done here. Many of you know, music can be broken down into 2 words. Mu, pronounced mu, is the 12th letter of the Greek alphabet, and sick means as intentionally so written. So this word could be symbolically felt as 12 as intentionally so written. As someone with a 12/12 birthday, I cannot help but feel I have been programmed. And of course, the word music also sounds like muse-sick, as many of you probably know. Finally, I have heard some people say that the United States is an Obama nation, but it sounds like they're saying abomination. Back to the Whore of Babylon thing. Or also, oh, bomb a nation. So when I hear people speak about free will, and I consider the symbolic nature of language, I beg to differ, especially if a portion of us are affected by these negative and or confusing things in our language. It seems to me that more often than not, people are reacting to situations or circumstances set up long before we were ever born. This kind of destroys the concept of free will for me, especially when I consider how my mother named me with the initials CAT and didn't even like cats. Could that have had something to do with the way I was mistreated and neglected when I was growing up? Then, as an upcoming art student, I met a fellow student with the last name of Skinner, who was able to somehow steal many of my ideas and ended up ruining my career and my life. The phrase, "How many ways can you skin the cat?" comes to mind. And again, I must ask, is this some kind of a joke? For those of you who think I'm being blasphemous, I ask you to remember that the Bible states that God loves the truth, which is all I'm trying to discover and talk about. And in my case, it does seem that my life has been orchestrated and programmed in a negative way. And sadly, I'm reminded of the song Blasphemous Rumors by Depeche Mode. By the way, doesn't the Bible state that the truth shall set you free? Well, I sure hope so. I sure hope that God can see how all my life seems to have been lived as a reaction to negative programming, including more than just the language, over which I had no control. So, if you're watching this, I'm asking you to please pray for me, because I'm struggling with this. When I was a little girl, I loved God and wanted to serve God, and my whole life got turned upside down and put in reverse. So that's why I need justice to not be blind. All right, thank you very much for watching, and take care.